The Bible teaches us to love our neighbors as ourselves. Stacy and Brad Segebarth have created a neighborhood that extends nearly 8,000 miles from Lebanon to Ethiopia, demonstrating their love for neighbors all along the way. For loving and serving our neighbors in Ethiopia, Stacy and Brad Segebarth are our 2019 Global Hometown Heroes. The Segebarth's journey began with the adoption of their daughters, Haven and Selah, from Kazakhstan. Those adoption trips opened their eyes to humanitarian and spiritual needs in other nations.
So my first trip to Ethiopia, I had no idea where we were going to be working. We ended up in a village called Kora. It's actually a leper colony, and it was started about 85 years ago. They built a hospital to treat leprosy, and people would come in from the countryside, and they would set up a little shanty, and then they just ended up raising their families there. So I think they're on their fourth and fifth generations of families that have just built shanties. I can't explain the poverty. I try to explain to teams before we go, and I don't have enough words. I don't even know how to explain how it is. But on the other hand, I guess probably what broke me the most on my first trip was the joy, that what they were thankful for what they had. They were thankful for the trash that they got to eat that day or how much metal they collected. They weren't feeling sorry for themselves. And so it was kind of a double-edged sword for me. I still prayed that when I got home. Like, I prayed that I could forget what I saw. Like, I had nothing in my mind that could ever change what I saw. So I just prayed that I would forget and move on and be able to not cry myself to sleep every night. So obviously that didn't work. But I did. I remember catching myself just asking God, like, what do you want me to do with this?
What I noticed about her when she came back was that she was completely changed and just broken. I tried to research it a little bit. Survivor's guilt, maybe a little bit, is what I think maybe she had, but she cried every day for 6 months.
The Segebarths embraced Stacy's dream of improving life for the children of Kora by getting kids off the trash dump. To realize their dream, they first partnered with an established organization in Kora, and eventually Stacy and Brad formed Out of the Ashes with a plan to sponsor 51 children. However, their faith led them to serve hundreds more.
What I like to say about that, let's try to do something so big that it won't succeed unless God's in it.
That's when Out of the Ashes grew to serve 451 children in desperate need of help.
So the only opportunity they have is to be educated, for somebody to come in and teach their families, try to break that cycle of poverty through education.
Currently, Out of the Ashes is educating 230 students ages 9 to 25 in grades K through university and in trade schools. To prepare the children for learning, Out of the Ashes also focuses on meeting their basic needs. Since 2013, the nonprofit organization has sponsored 10 medical white coat brigades, serving 400 to 700 people annually. One medical volunteer is Dr. Jack Hopkins of Lebanon.
Healthcare is so important for kids that are getting an education, because if you don't feel good, you can't learn. Kids under toxic stress, and that's what these kids are, is under a toxic amount of stress in their environment, physically become more debilitated. And it's not just nutrition, it's just the stress of not knowing where their next meal is going to come from, living in crowded conditions in a stressful environment. And so unless you can heal that, they're not going to be able to concentrate on their studies. So it's just a critical piece, right, of providing for if we're going to, through Out of the Ashes, if they're going to provide that education for children, then to really ensure that they succeed, you've got to make sure that they're healthy.
Another Lebanon resident who has served with the medical brigade is nurse practitioner Deborah Grace.
I've known Stacy for quite some time. We used to go to church together, and when she started the program, it was very, very intriguing to me just to be able to help someone else. I've always wanted to go on a mission trip, and this was the perfect opportunity. When I think about how it impacts Lebanon, I think about, well, do I take this home? Absolutely. Do I share what we've done here with others? Absolutely. And it has impacted Lebanon in many ways, because I think there's actually more than 10 of us from Lebanon who've actually come over to Ethiopia, to Korah, to see and to provide help and serve. And you don't even have to be medical to do that. So it's really, really great.
Stacy and Brad have made a difference in the lives of our global neighbors and our Lebanon neighbors.
In my personal example, one of the boys that we have sponsored who lost his father in a trash dump landslide is now an owner of his own motorcycle delivery service. He's doing well, he's looking healthy, and he's achieving success in life.
Another success story is Adanesh, who after graduating with a degree in psychology is now a social worker for Out of the Ashes.
My name is Adanesh Hailu. I'm 21 years old now.
After Adanesh's father passed away, her mother needed help providing a good education for her daughters. Out of the Ashes provided Adanesh with that education and an opportunity for a better life. Now she is helping with her sister's education. Adanesh knows that Out of the Ashes changes people's lives, and for that she is so grateful.
የገባሁትኝ እዚህ ቆሬ ነበርኩኝ የምኖረው እና አባታችን 3 ዓመት
As for Stacy and Brad, they are grateful for the many volunteers and sponsors who make it possible for Out of the Ashes to accomplish its mission.
And everything. I mean, we don't do it by ourselves. We have our whole board is volunteer. None of us are paid over here. I mean, we have so many people that help us for free that this is not us. It just, we said yes, and then everybody that backs us made it happen. I mean, we couldn't do this without our sponsors, without our board, without, I mean, everybody that comes over. Our teams are 100% volunteer. They pay for their own way. And so when we're over there, we're a working team. We're helping our staff. So, I mean, it isn't Brad and I, it's definitely God and all the people that back us.
For demonstrating love for our Ethiopian neighbors by rescuing hundreds of children from a trash dump and providing them with opportunities for a brighter future, Stacy and Brad Segebarth are our 2019 Global Hometown Heroes.